Thanks for being with us.
Great to be here with you this morning.
What do you make of the jury's decision?
Its significance and impact cannot be overstated. The dollar amounts may seem large to us, regular people, a couple $1 million, but it's not going to be that much of a difference to these huge big tech companies. What's really going to matter is the impact of these lawsuits, because now there are hundreds of others that are waiting to be ruled on across the country.
Let's talk about the effect. $6 million in compensatory and punitive damages, essentially like couch cushion money, as I joked a minute ago, for these trillion-dollar-plus companies. What do you think will be the larger effect of this judgment?
Couch cushion, lunch money, you're exactly right. But the problem here is that we need legislation. We need a sea change in the way that big tech, social media, and down the line, artificial intelligence are legislated, because our children have to be protected. We've already seen that different age groups can become addicted. And while internal employees that are still at these companies have compared the addiction to a good TV show and having to keep binging, the reality that we saw in this lawsuit with the dollar amount and what the jury said is that it's just as addictive as cigarettes or online gambling. So there's no way that they can get around not legislating, not protecting, and not having major changes happen on all of these platforms.
How does the outcome relate to Section 230? That's what usually shielded these tech companies from being sued over what their users posted. And instead, it looks like this case sort of focused more on the inner workings of the apps themselves.
So Section 230 is a piece of legislation that's over 30 years old that really went back to the dawning age of the internet in the 90s and basically allowed big tech companies to operate without being sued or having the threat of lawsuits against what users were posting. But these lawsuits are different. These lawsuits are not focusing on what's being said on content. They're focusing on how the platforms give them that content. So we're talking about algorithms. We're talking about infinite scrolling. All of the features that by design addict users and certainly addict minors, our most vulnerable population using these platforms.
I know there are more similar lawsuits down the road. Do you think this decision will in any way change what we see or what our children see when they go on these social media sites?
I hope, and I believe that many other tech lawyers and experts hope, that it will change. It's going to take some time, but we have now recognized in a court of law, and actually multiple courts of law across the country, that this is a serious problem that needs to be rectified. And so legislation will help. Hopefully we can come to some agreement on that. There is bipartisan support for a variety of pieces of legislation that have been proposed. But now we're going to see a trickle effect amongst all the different lawsuits across the country, which hopefully will force the platforms to change their behavior.
And it's not just individuals, of course, it's whole families, school districts, municipalities, states, so we could go on. That's the time we have for this now. Leeza Garber, a cybersecurity and privacy attorney. I appreciate your joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Thanks.